and I'm a peer advisor with CalTeach, and today we'll be talking about field placements. So first up, let's talk about in-person field placements. The field placement hour requirement will depend on the class that you're taking, and so for EdSTEM 82 or 82T, you have a 12 hours per semester requirement, meaning that's about 1 hour per week. For Education 130 and Education 131 AC, you have a 24-hour requirement for the semester, which calculates to about 2 hours per week. And for UGIS 187, you have a 45-hour requirement for the semester, which works out to 3 to 4 hours per week. One thing that's important to note, travel time is not included in our requirements, so please account for that when you're planning out your schedule and also when you're getting ready to go to your field placement. So how do you get to your field placement? Most placements are accessible by AC Transit, which is free for Cal students using your transit card. Education 131 AC and 187 tend to have further away placements a little bit because we'd like students to experience different school districts and different schools. And so students enrolled in Education 131 AC especially can request travel reimbursements for BART, which is not covered by your AC Transit card. And so you would just check with the program coordinator and visit our website for more details for that to request travel reimbursements. One thing that's really important to do every time you go into your placement is to keep track of your hours using this form that you can find on our website, but will also be given to you through your CalTeach instructor. And so you should be keeping track of your hours every single time you go in. Write the date, the hours you've completed, and what you've done that day. So you remember kind of what you learned, you have a sense of the overall experience better, and make sure to do this, again, week by week, so you're not at the end of the semester just kind of trying to look back and remember when you went and what hours you did each time. Once you've completed that, you will get that signed by your mentor teacher, who will confirm the dates and the hours completed, and then you'll be submitting that to your CalTeach instructor on B courses. Some field placement do's and don'ts. First things first, do discuss expectations and class etiquette with your mentor teacher prior to the first time you go into their classroom. And so you want to be in communication with them right when you get assigned to their classroom. Meet with them, talk about how they run their classroom, what they're learning this year, the students, and what the teacher expects from you, and also what you expect to learn and what you expect to kind of experience. Talk about your strengths, and just have an open line of communication with your mentor teacher for the best experience. Another really important thing is to arrive on time, and so because you might have to travel a bit or take the bus or something, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to get to your classroom on time. You want to make sure that you're arriving when you've specified with your mentor teacher, so you're not disturbing the class rhythm or you're coming in the middle of a lesson or anything like that. Another thing that you want to do is you want to dress appropriately. You are going to be in elementary, middle, or high schools. You want to make sure that you align with the dress code, that you're dressing in a way that's appropriate and respectful. Another thing is make sure you're engaging with the students. Take initiative. That you're there to learn and to teach, and so you want to make sure that you are not observing only, but also kind of interacting. And lastly, assist your mentor teacher in whatever they would like you to do. You're there to help them and learn from them, and so make sure that you are available and that you ask when you feel like you don't particularly have anything to do. Some don'ts for you: don't observe without engaging. So once again, kind of don't sit in the back and observe. Yes, there is value in observing, but there is much more value in engaging with the students. Go ahead and teach. That's really the whole point of your field placement, is to experience what it's like to teach and interact with students. That way you can learn how different students respond to different techniques and things like that. Another thing to not do is to miss class without informing your mentor teacher beforehand. And so if you do have to miss your placement for any reason, make sure you're communicating with your mentor teacher before the class. That way they can prepare for not having you there. And lastly, don't wait until the last minute to discuss lesson plans with your mentor teacher. Make sure you are letting them know as you're planning your lessons that you're teaching. You're letting them know what you're thinking of, and they'll help you kind of tailor your lesson to their students. They know their students really well, and so they can tell you what's maybe an appropriate level, what activities students tend to engage with more, what is even feasible in their classroom, and so make sure you're communicating with them so that you have the best lesson possible. Next up, virtual field placements. And so virtual field placements are a little bit different and have been put in place due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so there are kind of two options for virtual field placements. Either you're placed in a virtual, like regular classroom with a mentor teacher, and that kind of follows the same guidelines as we've previously discussed. The only difference is that you wouldn't have to be traveling to that classroom, right? Because it would just be virtual. Or we have this new program where you are paired with a Bay Area family for one-on-one STEM tutoring, and that's a little bit different. And what happens then is you are matched with a family depending on kind of what subjects they're seeking help in and what subjects you think you're best fit to provide aid in. And essentially, what happens is the student you're tutoring, their guardian, becomes, in a way, your point of contact, similar to the way a mentor teacher is. And so once you receive your placement, you want to be emailing and you want to be in communication with that guardian. You introduce yourself, meet with them before the first session, kind of, again, set expectations, let them know your strength, let them know the timeline you see for the student, and let them tell you about their student and about their interests and about the way they interact with learning and with STEM. Um, and then keep in contact with the student you're tutoring and their guardian throughout the semester. Make sure that you check in, see what's working, see if there are suggestions to be made and changes to be done. And if anything does come up, please email the email on the screen, CalTeach STEM ambassadors at berkeley.edu, and let us know if we can kind of help you in any way. Some things to remember overall: be committed. The students are super excited to see you. They want you there, and so just make sure that you are committed to them. You are being on time, you are showing up when you need to, and things like that. Make sure you are being engaged. The more engaged you are, the more you'll learn, the more you'll be able to develop your own teaching skills, and so make sure you're engaging with the students and taking initiative. Remember that your mentor teacher and your CalTeach instructors are great resources to learn and observe. And so if you need advice, if you want to go over some lesson plans, they're there for you to do just that. Also remember that you're a reflection of CalTeach and UC Berkeley, and so, dress appropriately, act appropriately, make sure that you are being considerate, have empathy, and things like that. And lastly, make sure to have fun. This is supposed to be taking a break from being in a lecture hall and rather interacting with the students, learning about teaching by teaching, and so make sure that you enjoy it. Lastly, if you have any questions, please email us at calteach_peers@berkeley.edu or set up an appointment with one of us at tinyurl.com/calteachpeer. Thank you for listening and have a great day.